And we're back. Hello, I'm Braden still. Um, it's been another long hiatus between videos. I'm not really sure what happened. I just lost the motivation potentially. It's hard to say. It's hard to really quantify why I stopped making videos. It just was the natural flow of what happened. And I do apologize for anybody who was invested at the time and may have lost interest. I know I don't exactly have the most humongous viewer base right now, but I think it's still important to put it out there just in case there is anybody. It's good to be courteous. Um, as usual, I have no conversation topics prepared, and so I'm totally just sort of diving into this pool of talking for X amount of minutes until I have reached that time limit. Because I don't know if you've ever tried to just continuously talk for more than a few minutes, maybe, without creating large gaps of silence, because it is very tough, especially when you don't have a script planned out or even an outline. I imagine this would be a lot easier even with an outline, because then I could at least try to flow into my separate points without maybe getting caught off on too huge of tangents. I'd be able to reel myself in on topics because I'd know I want to cover these things. But when I'm just going into this, like going into the woods without a map, it's totally different experience. I feel it's a challenge almost in some sense to try to find a way to speak endlessly, to talk on and on and on, which would normally be quite annoying. But you kind of have to do it with videos on the internet. I mean, you don't have to. You could put some nice music in there, but it's more entertaining to me when I'm watching something to hear a little bit of commentary. Why? I don't know. That's just me. I do kind of like to have things on in the background while I'm doing other things. Like, for example, when I was making the video you're watching now, when I was filming myself actually drawing this elderly woman, I would have podcasts on in the background. I'm gonna be listening to music. I think at least one point in this drawing I was watching a movie, maybe two. I think I watched two movies during the course of this drawing. But I would have things on in the background more usually than just music. Because lately I've been kind of getting more into having some talking going on in the background, which is why, I put podcasts on in the background because maybe about a year ago I started getting into a couple of different podcasts. I'm not like a huge podcast guy, but there are a few that I do enjoy having on. Whether it's because of the content or just because the personalities of the people, which I guess would in of in and of itself, maybe. I'm not sure if that's the correct phrasing, the correct expression. Uh, Maybe the people being there is almost the same thing as enjoying the content, because most of the podcasts I watch are sort of also these sort of freeballed conversations between usually two people. There's one podcast I watch where sometimes there's guests and sometimes there's just the guy who hosts the podcast. But either way, they're all for the most part totally like just going out there into this conversation with no sort of plan. And, these podcasts will be like an hour and sometimes an hour and a half long, which I don't know if I could talk that long just by myself because I mean, I can barely talk for like 10 minutes sometimes. Sometimes I really really struggle to talk for 10 minutes without these long, incredibly, they seem like they would be incredibly difficult to listen to pauses. But anyway, what I was saying was that well, I don't know. I feel like I was saying something, but at the same time when I try to think of it, I also can't think of it. And I don't know if that's just the pressure of, I know that if I start thinking about it, it's going to be quiet because I can't talk. I can't think of things to say and also think of the thing I was talking about previously, which, as far as I can tell, was just that these podcasts are like an hour and a half long. Oh, I remember now. I was gonna say that I think they can talk. These people can talk for an hour because there's more than one of them usually. Most of the podcasts I watch, which I think there's only three, but 2 out of 3 of those are exclusively two people podcasts. Sometimes they're three. The other one is sometimes one, sometimes two. But having someone to bounce ideas off of definitely increases the potential lifespan of your video. And I think maybe that is possibly why these people making these podcasts co-host. Not only because they are typically friends, but because they know that they need to fill this time slot of probably at least 30 minutes. I feel like the standard for podcasts is a half hour. That is the minimum can do. I'm not gonna say you should do because I'm not the authority on podcasts. I only have 2 episodes of mine, I think. Hopefully soon-ish, maybe I'll try to make more. But that does make me realize now that I said earlier that I don't think I could talk for an hour, but at the same time I have these like 50-minute podcast episodes. I think one of them's at least almost an hour. The other one might be like 40 minutes or something, but that's still pretty close to an hour. And I'm not sure how I did that. How in the world did I talk that long? I feel like right now, I feel like I'm having a hard time talking for this time slot. And I know that I have 13 minutes and 10 seconds because what I do is I look at my edited video, because I usually edit the video and then put the audio in. But I look at that and then I see, after I trim it all down and speed it up and all that, put any jazzy features in just to make sure it's at the final correct length that it's going to be uploaded as. I look at that time, which for this one is 13:10.94 seconds. And I time myself talking for that amount of time and then put the audio in with the video so that they line up all nice and neat. But I feel like I'm having a hard time talking for this 13-minute time slot. But here I was talking for an hour. I wonder what I talked about. I'll never know unless somebody tells me, because there's no way I'm going to go back and watch those. I guess I could just skim through them. That probably wouldn't be so hard. Anywho, I guess I should probably talk about this drawing a little bit. The pen I use is a Rotring Isograph, a .35 nib, if anybody's wondering. The paper is nothing terribly special. It's just a sketchbook that I got a long time ago, maybe like a little over a year ago, and I don't really know exactly what brand it is, because I don't think it says anywhere. I'm looking at it right now, and it does not look like there is any sort of labeling on it anywhere. But it does have this nice sort of faux crocodile skin pattern on the covering. I put some stickers on it, which hopefully at some point you'll see. I don't want to take the time to describe them because I would not feel it would do them justice, even though they're not all these grand stickers or anything. It's just not as entertaining to listen to descriptions of stickers as it is to look at them, I would imagine. But anyway, I'm about to finish this other sketchbook that I have, which is a Moleskine sketchbook. It's a smaller one. I think it's probably like 6 by 8, maybe like 5 by 8. I'm not really sure. It's hard to say. I wonder if it says. It probably doesn't. Why would it say? I don't know. I could try to measure it real quick. I don't know if I have a ruler lying around or anything. But when I look for a ruler, I will tell you that this sketchbook, this big sketchbook that I'm drawing this old lady in, which I found as a picture on Instagram, which I would credit probably in the Instagram post I make about this drawing. It's a sketchbook I got a while ago, and I haven't drawn anything in it because usually I have a bit of a hard time working with larger paper sizes. I feel almost like I've gotten used to, in a way, smaller sizes of paper, like this little Moleskine sketchbook, which is just maybe like an inch and a half or 2 inches longer than my hand. And so, it's always been a little bit intimidating to work on bigger paper. And I've had some flops of drawings on bigger paper that I've never shared, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I have shared them. Anyway, that's besides the point. But I've always been struggling with bigger paper. But this time, I think I got this drawing that I did in here on the first page. I think I did pretty good with it, for it being on bigger paper. But my plan for this sketchbook is, at least for the most part, is to try and everything I draw in it becomes a video. And since I'm about to run out of this other sketchbook, I'm going to have to do that, essentially, if I want to draw in this book. Because if I don't, I'm probably going to feel a little bit guilty about it because I said it in this video, which I guess does add some accountability for me, so yeah. But my plan is to make a video out of every drawing in this larger sketchbook. Anyway, I believe my time is wrapping up soon. I have about 20 seconds left, so I will say goodbye, and I hope you enjoyed this video. There will be more to come. I have some more planned. 2 more planned, 2 more up and coming as it happens. It was exciting to be back, and I hope to see you again soon.